Hello, how are you? Well, I want to make an informative video again today about our religious rights. Now, we know during the pandemic, our religious rights and freedom was under attack, and many, though, and I want to just remind you about the Healthy American, who reminded people how they can insist on their religious freedom and rights. Because we do have those under the Constitution and under the some kind of act. Okay? Some kind of act. I don't remember it again anymore, but you can find it out very easily. So we are again going into territories that will, if they're not stopped, will restrict us. Well, I don't know really how they will restrict us, but I just watched the video today, and Brett and Heather, it's Brett Weinstein and Heather, I don't know what her last name is, we're discussing this new proposal of the WHO, WHO, which they want actually the whole world to accept. So in other words, they can make decisions for all the countries of the world, at least the countries that will sign this proposal. What they're saying is, they would only go into effect if there is a pandemic. But then again, we saw how fast that can happen and how fake, I'm going to have to say fake, these pandemics could be. So this is serious. I suggest, I'm not going to go over these things. I suggest if you really want to inform yourself, watch Heather and Brad. They're discussing it. They're allowed to discuss them, I guess, because they are, whatever, biologists, professors. But what I'm worried about, not worried, concerned, is, how does this affect, again, our religious freedom? And this is how really people avoided getting this vaccine. And I think maybe I can say that word again. And how is this going to affect, when the WHO can make the decision for us, or if they force us, when the United States, puts it in the hands of the WHO, do they give up our rights, okay? Our fundamental rights, our religious rights. Now, I know I'm from Germany, and in Germany, people couldn't use that because they don't have that kind of a protection. They couldn't claim this religious freedom. I don't know what the act is called. I used to know it. And really claim that, nope, we will exempt ourselves from getting the shot or any shot, period. We have the right under this religious freedom law, whatever it is, to make our own decisions. Do we not have any? They are saying right now, we will not have any consent under that act. In other words, we are being forced, regardless of what our law says, what our amendments say, we're being forced. And that would mean people our government, okay, will get the right to make these decisions. See, last time they couldn't get through with it because we had, these laws in place. So they couldn't just run over us. But of course, since they couldn't, they already thought about something they can put in place. So this will not happen again. So there will be no more wiggle room out. Okay, no more wiggle room out. You either get it or whatever. You're fined, which happened in Germany, or, whatever. Be thrown in jail, whatever it is. And of course, also that means same will apply to your kids. This is something that we all really have to be informed about. I don't know what we can do about it, and I have to admit, I'm not sure if we can get this through. I think we need to know what's coming. Okay? Again, I have talked so much about pharmakia and Revelation 18. If you're not familiar, let me know and I'll give you the video where I did an extensive video on pharmakia. That word pharmakia, or which they translated as sorcery. And of course, pharmakia you can trace back to alchemy, you can trace it back, to chemistry, and you can trace it then, of course, to pharmacy. Okay? And this is what we are being transformed by. Okay, I'm going to use that word transformed into what? Non-humans. And whose goal is that? Well, it says Babylon the Great, which I talked about in my past 2 videos, the Vatican. And of course, the Vatican is not the end, but it's Lucifer. Lucifer has been wanting to change the DNA of humankind forever. So we are not human anymore, so we cannot be saved anymore. He tried that before the flood, and he's going to try it again. And we're very close to it, because what did Jesus say? Just like the days of Noah. Okay, the days of Noah, they didn't just eat and drink, that's what he says, but he didn't say exactly why the days of Noah. We should know what happened during the days of Noah and why the flood came. The flood didn't come because they were eating and drinking and marrying and all that stuff. That was just a distraction. They were not thinking about what they were doing. All they did is thought about eating and drinking, and they forgot, or they didn't think about what Satan was trying to do. Remember, the whole DNA was corrupt by the Nephilim DNA. In other words, in most family, there was this wrong gene that the watchers changed, and only Noah and his family wasn't changed. And I think if God would have not brought the deluge, I think it's called deluge, in other words, the flood, I'm not sure if, anybody would have been saved. And that would have meant nobody was real saved, okay? Eternally saved. No Messiah either. No Messiah would have came and would have saved humankind, even the people before the flood. So we're coming to that point again, and I just want to warn you. Of course, maybe, hopefully, that will happen after the the rapture, after Jesus picks up his bride during the wrath of God. Because I have said that this mark of the beast, which I don't think COVID was. People say that. Oh, it's COVID. No. There's a far worse things coming. Far worse. Because once you get the mark of the beast, you have no more choice. They will do whatever medical interventions they want to do. This is exactly what's going to happen, and they're planning that. You have no more wiggle room anyways. Once they come up with this mark. The mark is not what they squirt in your body, even though what they squirt in your body is going to transform you. And even Brett Weinstein, who is not a Christian, I think he's a Jew, is realizing that. They always scream, oh, no, this mRNA does not change your DNA. But we have more and more information. And don't take my word for it, because take the word of the experts. That's why I'm saying I'm not going to talk about it, because I don't need to talk about it. The experts will tell you. And the fact checkers are not always correct. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. Or maybe they're just not on top of things, or they are behind, or whatever, or decide they want to be not as informed. Whatever their excuses are. But we have our information. Again, watch this video by Brett Weinstein and Heather. And again, I'm giving it to you because they're supposedly the experts. And be careful, okay? Be careful with anybody. I'm not saying they're 100% always correct. I've said that before. But just if they're 80% correct, it's going to be bad enough. When the mark comes and you can't sell, buy or sell. In other words, you cannot transact anything. You cannot have property. Okay? See, that is not what it says. But when you cannot buy and sell, you can have property. Because you cannot make any transaction. In other words, you can't pay your taxes. Okay? That means what? They're going to take your house. Yeah. This is serious. Okay? This is serious. Some people just say, oh, this is Corona. No, it's not. It is actually where you are not able to make any transactions, financial transactions. And you are totally in the hands of the government. And you make that decision. It's your free will. Really, they force you, of course, but it's still your free will. You can lose your head, but they still cannot force you. And you're going to have to make that decision at that point. I had somebody calling me from my insurance today, health insurance. You know, she wanted to offer me some home care. And I said, I don't need that. I'm healthy. Okay? And I told her, I said, do you know what? I'll give you, she wanted to know what my secret is for doing so well. And I said, well, don't take any vaccines and don't take any pharma. Because anytime you start taking a medication, you go down the drain and your list of medications get longer and longer. And the same thing with vaccines. And I hope you can say that. Everybody needs to make that decision. Because I believe in the Bible. And under my religious, freedom, I can say that no, I do not choose any of these things that come from pharmakia. I can say that. And I'm not advising that for anybody else. Everybody else needs to make their own decision, inform themselves about everything that's going on, and to think, do they want to go into that direction? Eventually, it will get to that. They're going to make that decision for next year. I think they will vote on it, and Heather said, well, she thinks it's going to go through. That will mean, again, my question is legally, can they force, or can they therefore eliminate your religious rights? Possibly. And then what are you going to do? Because then you get exactly to that point with this lady, and I should have just continued with this lady, healthcare lady. Well, but she says, well, but I had to take it or else I would have lost my job. And I said, there's a lot of people that didn't lose their job and they were fighting it because of this religious act. People didn't know it. I mentioned that during that time, the Healthy American, I think her name is Peggy, Healthy American, who helped a lot of people get out of having to take the vaccine. So there's ways, but again, like I said, they will, and I knew that, they will come up with ways to stop these little loopholes that we had. Yeah, these loopholes may go away. And I think people need to be prepared for it. So they're not going to be shocked, like the last time, because it's going to get worse. It will get worse. Now again, hopefully people, by that time, the rapture has happened. Because I'm always saying that the mark of the beast will not be administered until after the rapture, during the wrath of God. I have done videos about it and showed clearly that we see the mark really during the wrath. For instance, I believe it is Revelation 16, where you can see that the people, it's either 16 or it is in Revelation 8, where the people that have the mark will get boils. And why are they getting boils? Of course, because what they administer. So that's one of the things that I know why during that time you will have the mark. I think it's also in Revelation 14. Again, that's during the wrath of God. Revelation 14, you can see the saints in heaven. Remember in my last video, I made a very nice timeline. The saints are again in heaven, just like in Revelation 7. The 144,000 at that time in 14 are the saints in heaven. And then after that, the wrath of God starts. And we know that Babylon the Great is going to be punished. And also the people that had the mark of the beast. So those are places that I know in the Bible where clearly we can see that this mark will be administered during the wrath of God. So the saints don't have to deal with that. We will be persecuted. We're being persecuted before, but not beheaded because of not accepting the mark. But the 144,000 sealed in Revelation 7, they will have to go through it. And they will be beheaded. Those are the foolish virgins in Matthew 25 who will not make it into the rapture. So more reason to really understand these things, what the Bible teaches. We're coming so close, people, to these things happening. Why? We are seeing the signs. And I believe this document, or this, whatever it is, treaty they want to do with the WHO, with the WHO, is again just another step towards the return of Jesus. Because God is not going to allow, okay, for all of humankind to be destroyed. Okay? Destroyed. He is going to send down his wrath, just like he did during the flood. He's going to do that. It's just one more reason. But I'm coming to an end. It's going to be a shorter video because I want you to go and watch Heather and Brett. Okay? Again, I do not follow them, and I don't definitely not agree with Brett and Heather in everything. Very little, actually. But when they present facts, then I am listening. And that's what they did. Anyways, remember, facts and opinions are two separate things. So be aware of somebody's opinion. Know when they are telling you facts and when they're telling you opinion. Coming to an end. Let the Holy Spirit guide you always.